Attention. If you owe back taxes to the IRS, watch this urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by hiring 87,000 new agents to garnish your paycheck and put liens on homes and businesses. They can even seize your bank account. The IRS calls it enforced compliance, and now they have the manpower to get you. Penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily. So call One Stop Tax Relief Shop and get the IRS off your back. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks the IRS has ever offered. And no other tax shop gets you more or faster approvals. One Stop Tax Relief has resolved thousands of cases since 2014 and saved clients millions of dollars. Call now for a free consultation. Connect with tax professionals who get the IRS off your back.
Call 800-605-0688. 800-605-0688.
One Stop Tax Relief Shop.
Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. Dave Weishottle with you. I'm excited to talk to our next guest because he is part of one of my favorite sports books in the world. The sports betting industry is growing in the United States, and in my opinion, Betfred is one of the sports books leading the way. And we're going to find out all about Betfred's incredible year they just had and what they have in store for the new year, because on the line we have the COO of Betfred USA Sports, Bryan Bennett. Bryan, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Dave. It's good to be here. I appreciate you having me.
It's our pleasure. First off, congratulations on an incredible year for Betfred. I mean, as I said, the sports betting industry is expanding, and there's a lot of new sports bettors out there, and this is a new thing to a lot of people. But for those who aren't familiar with Betfred, tell me something about Betfred, because I think it has one of the best origin stories of any sports book out there, and there actually is a Fred.
There is actually a Fred. That's generally the first question I get when people aren't familiar with the company is, wait, is there an actual Fred? And the answer is yes.
Yeah, there's a Fred.
There is a Fred. Fred Doan is our chairman. He was our CEO up until about a year ago, and he retired from that position. He's in his late 70s now. But Fred started the company with his brother Peter in 1967 in Manchester, England. And they started it by winning a bet.
Yeah.
So Fred had basically pulled his money together with Peter, and they made a bet on England to win the World Cup, the 1966 World Cup. I think it was at 5-1, and I think they made like a 200 or 300 pound bet. And in 1967, for a couple of kids that grew up on the wrong side of Manchester, that was a sizable wager.
Yeah.
And it came through. In fact, it's the last time England won the World Cup. I don't think they knew that at the time. Knew that would be the case at the time. But then, they went into their local betting shop and they said, hey, instead of paying us our winnings, let's, because they knew the guy was looking to sell and get out. And they're like, can we use it as a down payment on the shop? And the guy did. And he took their winnings, made a down payment on the shop. They worked out a payment plan, and Dome Brothers Bookmaking was born on that day. And starting with that first shop in Manchester, and then it kept growing, and then as the internet age came along, Dome Brothers Bookmakers doesn't exactly roll off the tongue for a URL or for an app. So that's when they officially changed the name to Betfred. That was in I don't remember. That was in late 90s, early 2000s when they did that. And, Betfred's been roaring ever since.
That story is one of the things I love about Betfred, that it's been taking bets long before there was widespread sports betting in the United States. And as a sports bettor, I like that fact because it shows me you guys know what you're doing, because you have been the standard in sports betting industry for such a long time. At the moment in the United States, where is Betfred operating? Where can people place a bet with Betfred?
Yeah, so we just launched our 8th state of Ohio. So let me catch my breath for a minute and make sure I list them all. So in order of launch, starting in February of 2020, we are in Iowa, Colorado, Pennsylvania, Louisiana, Arizona, Washington, and Ohio, and Virginia. We're getting ready to launch. We've soft launched in Virginia. We're going to formally launch in Virginia in the coming weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. And Maryland. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Those those are our states. We're live retail in Maryland. We're about to launch online in Maryland, hopefully just before the Super Bowl.
Well, I'm glad you teased that Virginia one, because I had a question about a Virginia soccer team that you made a deal with, and I was like, oh my God, they just is Virginia in the next? But I'm gonna ask about that in coming up. But I want to get back to the deals you made recently, and that just shows how good Betfred is in the sports betting industry. You made a couple of deals with NFL teams, which is incredible for a sports book, the Denver Broncos and the Cincinnati Bengals. Before we get into the particulars of those deals, how did those partnerships come about?
The Broncos partnership was our first one.
Mm-hmm.
That was our first sports sponsorship here in the U.S. And it really came about as we were kind of kicking some tires. We knew Colorado was our first big online state to launch in, and we knew we needed some street cred because nobody knew who Betfred was. And we still, as we go into new states, we still have to do a bit of brand building that maybe some of the others don't have to do. Mm-hmm. But in Colorado, it was especially true because it was our first one. So we knew we needed some way to kind of get an immediate brand awareness, and the way to do that is obviously to attach yourself to a pro sports team, and we were looking to attach ourselves to the primary one. And in Denver, it is a Broncos town through and through.
Yeah.
And so we had the opportunity. They were interested. It was back in the time when the Bolin family still ran the company. I think they liked our story as well, that we were family owned. Yeah. And it just worked out. So the Broncos have been phenomenal partners. Didn't have a phenomenal season this year. But they've been great partners, and hopefully brighter days ahead from a results perspective.
What does the deal with the Denver Broncos entail? We have a lot of people in the gaming industry that listen to the show, but we have a lot of casual people who, when we say a Sportsbook did a deal with an NFL team, what does that mean?
So that deal is sponsorship only, and then we can talk about the Bengals one, which is a little bit different. So sponsorship only. So obviously, all the things that kind of come with it, the in-stadium signage and online sponsorship, and we also sponsor some radio stuff as a result of that deal. The Broncos Country Tonight runs on radio KOA there in Denver. It's the primary Broncos talk show, and it runs year round. We're the title sponsor of that. So those are sort of the basic blocking and tackling things that come with it. For us, though, I think the big one that we really love is we're the official sponsor of the official Broncos tailgate party. So if you right outside of Empower Field is a little Mile High monument. So it's a monument to old Mile High, and we have a massive pregame tailgate tent there. It's the VIP tailgate brought to you by Betfred. Tons of Betfred sponsorship in there. We get to activate. You'll have thousands of people come through there on a game day. It's great brand building. It's a great way to interact with fans. And there's always celebrities and radio people and ex-players, and it's a great opportunity. So that's kind of the flagship opportunity for us with the Broncos.
I got to tell you, off air, I was telling you, I can't turn on Twitter without seeing Betfred, and that's one of the things I see. You have these massive parties outside of the stadium in Denver. It's just absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's gone really well for us. It's a great way to build relationships, and at its core, I think we do things a little bit differently at Betfred. We're smaller than some of the what I call the big four. Yeah. So we're not naive. We know we're smaller. We know we're a challenger brand. We know we got to hustle a little more. So we for us, it really comes down to relationships. We love building relationships with our players, and to do that, you got to put feet on the street. You got to get out there and pound the pavement, and that's what we do. We have brand ambassadors. They're Betfred employees. And we go out there and try to work hard to build sort of one-on-one relationships, and we've applied that to Cincinnati as well. And I think we did that deal with the Bengals, and we activated it in September. 4 months before betting was even legal or allowed in Ohio. We activated that sponsorship to start building the brand and building those relationships, and we've already seen the benefits of that. Where you'd be hard pressed to find someone in Southern Ohio that doesn't know who Betfred is.
Well, let me ask you about the Cincinnati Bengals because, like I said, I follow you on social media, and the Bengals fans out there, it seems like it's a nonstop party with the Bengals fans and Betfred. Tell us about your deal with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, so that deal's a little bit different because in Ohio, sports teams were given licenses by the Ohio Casino Control Commission. So the teams themselves actually have sports betting licenses, and so we partnered with the Bengals as our market access partner. So we are able to do business in Ohio because we have the partnership with the Bengals. But it also includes obviously the exclusive sports betting sponsorship as well. So it's kind of a dual nature partnership, and it's worked phenomenally. I think the Bengals are probably the match made in heaven for Betfred because they're one of the only. I think there's only two. I think the Rooneys and the Browns are the only. There might be the Bears as well, but they're only very small number of teams that are still family owned and operated, and the Bengals are one of them. And their story is very similar to the Betfred story.
Yeah.
And I think it just worked. It was the perfect match. They were looking for something a little different. They didn't want to, they didn't want to go out and just do a deal with a normal corporate book, I guess, to borrow some of their terminology. And we're anything but a standard corporate book. So it worked out well. We've been pounding that relationship since September. I've done a ton of events there on the ground, lots of other advertising as well. And it's worked out really well, and we're really excited about that they're making a nice playoff push here.
Yeah.
But we're also excited about it. And it's a long-term agreement, so we're going to be there for a while.
Betfred and like the fans of Cincinnati seems like it's a match made in heaven. I mean, they're just so passionate about the Bengals, and from looking at it from afar, I'm sitting in New Jersey. I don't see that much passion between fans and a sports book and a team. It's such wonderful to see.
Yeah, we built a nice buzz there.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic. I went to my first Bengals game. Well, I was there for the Monday night game against the Bills was my first game. And obviously that game turned out very different, as we all know.
Yeah.
But pregame, the pregame party, obviously betting had just launched on New Year's Eve or at 12:01 a.m. on New Year's Day. So we were there for that. We threw a big party. We threw a big launch party. So the buzz was building. We had ex-players come out. We had Anthony Munoz out at our party. We had Trey Kirkpatrick out there, Pac-Man Jones. So, it was a great event. But then even on Sunday and all day Monday, because Monday was a holiday, the city was just buzzing.
Yeah.
Tons of people out, tons of people. And a lot of Bills fans were there as well. But it was all good natured, right? It wasn't some of the stuff you see on social media with rival fans sort of, fighting or whatever. It was all like, I don't know. It was just a rolling party. The city was electric. The atmosphere was electric. Game time came, and it was probably I've been to a lot of college and NFL games. I can't think of a better atmosphere than what I saw that night. For the Bills Bengals. I mean, it was electric is the only way I can describe it. It was loud, and it felt like a big college rivalry game.
Yeah.
And then, of course, it didn't end up so well. But it's a great atmosphere there in Cincinnati.
Well, I was very curious about opening night and what that would look like. I mean, I've talked to a lot of people in Ohio, a lot of journalists in Ohio leading up to opening night, and what's going to happen? It's 12 o'clock and everyone starts betting? Is that what's going to happen? But you were there. Tell us about the first night of betting. I mean, did it happen like 12:01 and you were live?
It did.
Wow.
At 12:01, bet started rolling in. The first bet we took was Bengals to win the Super Bowl at 8-1, and then it was sparse. There wasn't a lot of live events going on at that time. It was funny because the Ohio State, the Ohio State Georgia game was literally ending. So as the DJ in this party we were at, we're counting down, and Ohio State was lining up to kick a field goal. So it was a really kind of a surreal moment. But yeah, bets started coming in, and then they really rolled in the next day. Because it was an NFL Sunday, and then it's been full steam ahead ever since. So Ohio is going to be a big state. It's going to be a flagship state for Betfred, and it will be one of our focuses going forward.
I was going to ask you about that. What do you expect from the Ohio sports betting market? I think it's going to be a monster. It has incredible professional teams, it has great collegiate teams. Like I said, it has some of the best sports fans in the country. What do you expect from the Ohio sports betting market?
Yeah, I mean, I think all the things you mentioned there are the reasons why I expect it to be big, and I think most of the analysts do as well. It will be our biggest market. Population-wise, it's 12 million people, fervent, sports fans, and based on what we've seen so far, very big fans of betting on sports. And obviously our Bengals partnership is going to help us, get a leg up there, at least in Southern Ohio. So for us, I think it will be our biggest state.
Well, tell me about Betfred's presence in Ohio. Is it retail and online? And where can people place bets in Ohio with Betfred?
Online only, right, at the moment. So luckily, everyone's carrying a kiosk around in their pocket. So that's a good thing for us. We talked to the Bengals about a sports book. We had conversations about it. We haven't put it completely out of the question. The problem with is the NFL requires you, if you build a sports book in a stadium, the NFL won't let you operate it on game day. Yeah. Which just boggles the mind, right? I really, truly don't understand that. But it is what it is. The NFL does a lot of things I don't understand. So with that in mind, the Bengals stadium is not, if you've been to Cincinnati, it's not in a place that gets a lot of walk-up traffic. It's there right outside of downtown. Like, it's literally across the street from downtown. Yeah. But logistically, it's not, you would never walk by the stadium unless you're going to the stadium. It's not like the Reds have, their stadium's a little more accessible to foot traffic. The Bengals stadium is just really not. So with that in mind, we just decided to hold off on any sort of retail presence. It's something that we're still interested in, maybe long term. But for now, it'll be mobile only.
I got to tell you, with regard to Betfred and mobile sports betting, I love the way your mobile sports book is laid out. I think, living in New Jersey, I've seen all the mobile sports book apps and online sports betting operations, and I think Betfred is the most user-friendly. I mean, I've been on some apps where it looks like I'm staring at a computer screen from NASA, and it just boggles the mind how good Betfred is laid out. It's so user-friendly, and it shows me you guys know what you're doing. Was that important to design a mobile sports book and an app that people find easy to use?
Yeah, I mean, because at its core, it's a commodity product. Sports betting, that is. I mean, everyone has the same sports and largely the same markets. It's about for us, it's about creating the differentiating the betting experience as a whole. That means UI of the app. It means putting customer service front and center. It means the different boosts and promotions we have, and just how we treat people. So our goal in the UK has always been to create the best betting experience for players, and we're trying to take that and make that the mantra for Betfred here in the US as well. And we still have work to do. I think everybody does, but sure. I think we're quickly I think setting ourselves up for that. I think customer service in general, we're one of the few books that still, we offer phone support to all of our states. So if you have a problem, it's almost unheard of. If you have a problem with one of the big four, you're probably going to hear back 72 hours later. Yeah. If you have a problem with Betfred, you can pick up the phone on Sunday morning and you can talk to an agent in Las Vegas. You're not getting routed to offshore anywhere. You are literally talking to one of our agents in Las Vegas, and you can get your problem solved immediately and get your bet on for that game. So I think that's a key part of the experience we're trying to create. You mentioned promotions that Betfred offers. I think you have some of the best sign-up bonuses and promotions out there. Give us a sense of what people can get when they sign up at Betfred Sportsbook. So we have we're constantly kind of testing new welcome offers. But the current welcome offer is a bet to get $1,111 in Fred bets. You basically bet, you bet $50, you get $111 right off the bat, and then we structure where you can get $200 in Fred bets over the course of the next 5 weeks. So you get $200 in Fred bets per week based on your betting volume. So our goal with offers I think things have changed a lot in the industry here in the U.S. Our goal with the offer is to retain the player. We want to provide value, but we also want to provide incentive to stick around and give it a try. I think early on, especially like in Colorado, you had people with, $5,000, risk-free bets or wager matches. And as you can imagine, it's, people pop in, they take your promo and then they pop out. With the way we've structured our offers is that, we're going to make it worth your while to stick around. And then even after that welcome offer is over, we have a rewards program that continues offering various rewards based on your player behavior. We want to make sure people are happy with Betfred, and the people that stick around, we're happy to reward them for their loyalty.
And we mentioned it before, you guys really seem to be out in the community and really part of the fan base. I keep saying it. I see you guys out with fans and the parties you guys have. And, I found it amazing because I don't see that with a lot of sports books. And I find that great that you are really connecting with the consumers out there.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. It's kind of odd because it comes natural, I think, to not only to me but also the whole team that we built and just the Betfred brand. Even in the UK, Fred is out amongst the customers. He's also the face of Betfred, so he's on the Betfred TV station, giving away his boost and his picks and things like that. But he's also happy to be out and meeting people, and we try to do the same thing. I think that's the only way to really build an authentic brand. It's easy to say you're a book. Our mantra is we're a sports book or for bettors, run by bettors, and we want to be really authentic in our relationships. But you can't do that if you're just running radio ads and billboards if you're not actually out amongst the bettors, and that's what we try to do. It's tough to scale it. I'm not going to lie. As we launch more and more states, it is tough to scale sometimes, but it's something we're going to try to really remain true to because we think that's how we're going to compete, and we think that's what the Betfred brand has been built on. We're going to keep trying to do it.
I think that's great because I don't see that with a lot of other sports books. They're not having parties, they're not out in the community like the way you guys are. But I got to ask you about this another deal you made with the sports team, which kind of surprised me a bit. Betfred just made a deal with Loudoun United FC. I hope I said that right. Now, Betfred's from the UK, so I should be surprised you guys did a deal with a soccer team. However, I'm very surprised that you did a deal with a soccer team in Virginia. Tell us about that deal and how'd that come about?
Yeah, so first of all, Virginia is very similar to Ohio in terms of professional sports teams that have headquarters or stadiums or facilities in the state of Virginia were awarded Virginia sports betting licenses. So Loudoun United is the USL Championship team owned by DC United. So they are owned by the MLS team, but they play in the USL Championship, which is for those non-soccer fans here in the U.S. Though that's effectively the second division of professional soccer in the United States. The next level up is MLS. So Loudoun plays there in Leesville in Northern Virginia. They got a betting license, and we've been talking to them for a while, and we did the partnership so that we could have market access in Virginia, but also because we really like, for all the reasons we just talked about, we really like sponsoring sports teams and attaching the Betfred brand to local teams so that to kind of build those relationships. So that's the reason we did that with Loudoun. We are in the process of activating on that sponsorship. Their season starts early March, I believe. So we're going to be front and center signage. We're going to be on the back of their jerseys.
Wow. Okay.
So the Betfred brand will be below their number. So it'll be our first jersey sponsorship here in the U.S. We've done lots of them in Europe, but it'll be our first one here in the U.S. We're really excited. We're going to be ordering a lot of Loudoun United jerseys for the team in Las Vegas. Everyone wants to wear a Betfred brand, so it's going to be fun. I love soccer. I'm a huge soccer fan. So I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be fun to get out there and actually get a sponsorship going with soccer.
I mean, it's such great news. It blew me away. I was like, oh, my God, Virginia. When can people start expecting to place bets with Betfred in Virginia?
January 23rd is the current launch date.
Wow.
The app is available now.
Okay.
If they want to go in and find it, you can find Betfred Virginia now. It's not quite ready for prime time.
Mm-hmm.
It's soft launch, but it is launched. You can actually go in there, make deposit, make a bet, all that sort of stuff. The number of deposit options isn't really there yet. So on the 23rd is when we are going to formally really start pushing marketing, radio, out of home. We'll start, working with Loudoun to get it out on their stuff as well. And then we're excited as we build into the Super Bowl. We'll be ready. And then, of course, building into the soccer season, we will be ready as well. And I think Betfred's the first sports book in the U.S. to be on a soccer jersey. So
wow.
No other MLS teams, no other USL teams have done a sports betting partnership. So, yeah, we're excited to be on the jerseys.
You just created a collector's item, by the way. That's one. That's a jersey I'm going to look out for. I got to go find one. But like as we said, right now Betfred is in a bunch of states. Is there a state or a couple of states that people should look out for that Betfred may be going live in the near future, or do you have your sights set on a certain region of the country that you're looking to go live in?
Well, the next big one for us after Virginia is going to be Maryland online. We launched our retail sports book in Maryland, at least in a temporary location, back in November. And we missed the online launch by a little bit, but we're going to be finally online in Maryland, hopefully just before the Super Bowl. So if you're in Maryland, you'll be able to take advantage of Betfred offers, welcome offers to get your Super Bowl bets on. And then after that, we've been working on this for a long time, but we are hopefully getting closer to being live in Nevada at some point in the very, very near future. It's been a long time coming. We had built a sports book at the Virgin Las Vegas, which is the old Hard Rock, and we've just been trying to go through the licensing process for a while, and we're hopefully reaching an end point in that process.
Well, let's talk about the future. Betfred had an incredible 2022. What should people expect from Betfred in the year 2023? I mean, I know we have the Super Bowl coming up. We have March Madness. What can people expect from Betfred?
Well, from a business perspective, it'll be scaling. We had a ton of launches in 2022, and now we're going to have some time to sort of catch our breath after these next couple to be able to actually start scaling the business more, working on improving the apps, working on, new offers and just improving operations and all sorts of different things. So I think if you're a Betfred customer, you'll see lots of improvements with the betting experience, as I mentioned previously. We're not a whole lot not near as many launches this year. There's not as many states going live or currently plan to go live in 2023 as we had in 2022. But I think for the most part, it's going to be scale and continuing to build on operations.
Bryan, we're running out of time, but if people want to learn more about Betfred, can you give out your website so people can check it out? And like I said, Betfred's a great follow on social media. So if you want to give Betfred's social media addresses out, please do so.
Yeah, you can follow us on Twitter at Betfred Sports. If you're interested in following me, I'm not sure why, but if you are, you can follow me at Betfred Bryan. And then our website is betfredsports.com. All the information is there, all the easy access to all of our apps in all the different states, and sort of the information on our operations. So those are really the key places to keep tabs on what we're doing.
Bryan Bennett, COO of Betfred USA Sports, thanks so much for coming on and telling us all about Betfred Sportsbook. It's an incredible sportsbook that just had an incredible year, and I'm sure 2023 will be just as great. Please come back on and keep us updated about what's going on with Betfred Sports. Thanks so much for your time.
Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.